I'm just getting ready to do golden lentil and spinach soup from Forks Over Knives. This is another really easy, very hearty recipe. It's going to use brown rice, which I don't have. This is actually organic spelt kernels. It's cooked just like brown rice. It'll just be a little variety of grains or groats in our diet. It'll use mushrooms, potatoes, red lentils, there's the groats again, the organic spelt kernels rather, carrots, onion, garlic, a little bit of broth. If you don't have broth, you use water and some seasonings and probably a little bit of additional salt, because the broth is usually one of the things that adds salt to your meal. And then I'll use a little salt and pepper even if I didn't use the broth. This is actually just leftover from cooking vegetables during the week. I'll use a little bit of turmeric, maybe, although I have some turmeric in my savory spice blend, which I got the recipe from nutritionfacts.org, and I'll use a bay leaf. At the very end, it says to add spinach, and I'm going to add some spring greens instead because I don't have spinach, and there's some in this, along with a multitude of other wonderful greens. We'll be using crimson lentils. Besides being beautiful, one of the main differences is that they only take about 15 minutes to cook, so they're very fast. The grain, on the other hand, is going to take me about 45 to 55 minutes. It's usually in that range. And by that time, I'll have the rest of the soup ready to add the grain to. So I've added my mushrooms, carrots, onions, and I'm going to just grate a little garlic into this pan and simmer it with some water. And meanwhile, my grain is looking lovely, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's puffed up. It's a little bit chewy still, so I'm just going to add a little water and cook it a little longer until it's right about the tenderness that we like for grains. One of the things I love about this particular recipe is that it's using a lot of things that I get every week in my grocery haul for staples. And if you've ever seen any one of the grocery hauls on our site, you'll notice that I often will buy the mushrooms, the onions, the carrots. I always buy grains. I always make sure we have plenty of potatoes, garlic. This is just my grated garlic here. I'm going to add that to the pan. Because it has lentils also, is a dish that is also very, very high in fiber, which is one of the things that we don't get nearly enough of in our diets today. We average about 16 grams of fiber a day for most people in the United States. And we know that we need upwards of 35 to 50 grams of fiber a day, but really even up to 100 grams of fiber would be wonderful. What it does is it helps balance the bacteria in your gut, the microbiome. And by doing that, it allows that bacteria, the microbiome, to give off certain chemicals that are good for our mental health and our immune system, not just in terms of immune function and fighting off diseases, but in terms of inflammation. Because inflammation is such a major underlying factor in so many chronic diseases, just adding fiber could make a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. So that's one of the things I love about this particular soup, is it's very high in fiber. And when you're eating whole foods, plant-based, there will be very few foods that you eat that don't add that absolutely necessary fiber to your diet. This is going to be a very thick, hearty soup.
Oh, good.
It says to add the greens to the soup, but I'm putting it in the bottom of my bowl here because my husband doesn't care for greens in his. And then I'm going to put the rice over it, which is, again, my whole grain red spelt. And then I'll put the soup over that, and it'll be a nice combination. I'm going to use a little bit of lime juice also to flavor it at the end. So this is for the non-green lover in your house. That would be my husband in my house.
That's green right there.
So yes, it is green.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Thank you. It looks delicious.
Okay, great.
And I love green beans.
I know you do. Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
And this soup. Wow, this really is good.
Okay.
Wow, the soup looks really good.
Oh yeah, I'm making mine with the greens on the bottom and the grains, and then I'm going to put the soup right over it. That's just such a great way to wilt those greens underneath a little bit, bring out the color and the flavor and the nutrients. There we go. We can take that bay leaf out. That is not edible. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of lime in mine. That will also bring out a lot of the nutrients in this dish. Okay, there we go. Bon appetit.